uh, digital transformation and never afraid to challenge the status quo. So, Navjot, welcome again to Instahyre Next, and a brief about yourself and your passion for recruitment. And yeah, over to you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Surabjit. It's a pleasure to be, connected with you again. And as you said, I'm Nav, and I'm a global talent lead at SoftwareOne. My passion in recruitment, I'll be lying if I'll say that, hey, it's not a traditional, hey, I'm a people person. I love to serve people. That's why I'm in talent acquisition. So that's true. But also, if I see it from a candidate perspective, I can see all the challenges that, a job seeker always go through, right?
Mhm.
And as a talent acquisition expert, I just always try to be, just try to navigate more of those challenges and try to make the process much more easier for all the job seekers, right? So that's where my passion comes in. That's what I try to resolve each and every day. How can I make the process for job seekers more easy, more efficient, and also for the organization to kind of save the time, save the cost, as we are hiring the next best talent within the system, right? So good to be here. I am very much excited, to talk more about what you just described, AI, and how exactly we are using it in hiring. And I'm pretty sure, Abhya has a lot of points to share as well.
Great. Okay. So, and joining here will be someone who sits at the intersection of hiring and education. So, have Abhya Awasthi, who is a global senior TA partner at SoftwareOne Academy. So, she has helped early careers pipelines and globally, and knows how AI and skilling are transforming not just hiring but how we define potential. Abhya, welcome to Instahan Next. A brief introduction about you, your passion, and anything exciting which you're working on right now.
Thank you, Sarbjeet. Hello, everyone. I'm Abhya. Like Sarbjeet said, I'm the Senior Talent Acquisition Partner at Software One, where I'm focusing majorly on early careers. And before this, also, I was with American Express working in the analytics team. And before that, I was into a logistics company. So
Mm,
I have had chance to see how hiring works across different industries and how to bridge that gap between job seekers and doing the right kind of stakeholder management at the same time and getting the right talent into the organization at a cost which is beneficial for both the parties, be it the organization and the job seeker. So I'm super excited to be here today and talk about how AI is shaking up things in talent
mm.
acquisition.
Great. So we'll move on to the next section where we have prepared a bunch of questions for you and for our audience who have just joined in. So we will deep dive into hiring and AI. So I have the first question with me. So Navjot, we can start, and then Abhya, you can join in, and the next question we can do reverse. So recruiters versus AI. So who would win a fair fight? So what are your thoughts on this? As I see that there is like, if you give AI the same data, the same access, and the same briefs, could it hire better than a human recruiter? I don't think so. But yeah, over to you now, just on your thoughts.
Yeah. No, absolutely, Sarabjit. And that's an interesting, topic to discuss because even, within my network, when I talk to a lot of recruiters, a lot of HR people, there's always this tension between how exactly can we as recruiter can, we as people and culture team use AI ethically, right? So I think overall what you said, if we give the same access to AI, can it help hire the better candidate than a human recruiter? I don't think so because yes, with all the machine learning automation, it could definitely help refine the process, but that human touch is really very much still in need, right? So that's my 2 cents. Sharing the data or the same access to AI, we have to be very mindful of that, Sarabjit,
Mhm.
right? So we have seen cases out there in the market where yes, companies are including AI in their ATSs, in their automation, processes, hiring processes, and which is just leading candidates to rejections even before entering the process, right?
mm,
So, and that's really happening because of how exactly we as an organizations are training AI for our hiring processes. And not sure, if you know about this, but I think years ago when machine learning was, booming up, Amazon, I think back in 2013 or 2014,
mm,
Amazon did this training. They trained their ATS, they trained their system to screen the resumes faster, right?
mm,
So when they did that, they gave data access to their system, to their AI, for the past 10 years, right? So eventually, yes, they were looking forward to the automation, they were looking forward to
mm,
streamlining their screening process, but eventually what happened was they trained their current AI system based on the
mm,
10 years old data. So then the system started picking up the anomalies, trying to see, okay, what really worked in the last 10 years, right? So let's say if Thomas got hired for, a QA automation lead 5 years ago, so AI started picking up all the things that Thomas did right, that Thomas had in his resume, and then
mm,
it started benchmarking all the new resumes based on Thomas's experience, right? So when we say that AI in recruitment can eliminate the biases, it all depends on how we are really feeding the system, right? Sometimes we are feeding the system way too much. We are feeding AI way too much without any direction of what it really needs to learn, what it really needs to extract from that data, right?
mm,
Because eventually we are not training AI for that, for taking the biases separately. It won't do that for us irrespectively, right? So there are studies, Sarabjit, that actually says that AI can cause a lot of biases in the processes if we are not training them. And one of the examples I just shared, right?
mm,
So yes, I mean, AI cannot, to answer your question, AI cannot replace humans in the recruitment processes thoroughly. It can make our lives easier by,
yeah,
automating some of the manly tasks, automating some of the repetitive tasks. But really, when it comes to screening candidates, interviewing candidates in the first round,
mm,
companies which are using AI, for video interviews, for, AI AI robotic interviews, I think they need to be really careful around how exactly they are training AI, right?
exactly.
And without taking much of the time, I'm pretty sure Abhya have a couple of points here to add as well. But
Mm,
one of the things that came to my mind is you know a couple of months back, all these German recruiters, they did their study and they realized how exactly AI is kind of utilizing the video interviews, right, the
yeah,
robotic interviews, right? So they did this study where there were 4 or 5 recruiters. They sat in front of the AI video interview platform, and everybody wore different clothes, different jewelry, they had different hair setup and everything, right? And they realized that although they answered the questions in the same manner, their scores were very much different based on how they look, right, what they're wearing, what accessories they're wearing. So I think this all really comes into the play when we are kind of talking more about training AI in hiring processes. So it can never be as good as human efforts, for sure. It can it can support us in a very long way, but cannot definitely win that fight. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. That's what I think of AI versus recruiter.
great. So we learned about the Amazon example, the biases, and training has to be proper so that nothing like biases creep up and like basically it destroys your process. And so Abhya, I will come to you with the same
Sure.
question: recruiter versus AI, who will win a
Sure.
fair fight? But like another question I have from my side is, what do recruiters really bring to the table that AI can't replicate? And and should we actually be handing over certain tasks completely to them, to like not under supervision and entirely on AI? So yeah, over to you. Plus these two small questions from us.
Sure. I can take that one to start with. I feel as recruiters and in a day to day and a simple, if I talk as a recruiter, the sanity checks is something that the AI cannot do it for you
Hmm.
because it depends on the role that you're hiring.
Hmm.
Then the soft skills can never be assessed by an AI. That I feel you can do assessments, but then again there are certain parameters to soft skills in different roles. So we need that soft skill check to be run by recruiters till date, I feel, and the human touch, keeping each and every status updated and keep the candidate engaged throughout the process. There you need the kind of human touch, which
Hmm.
I think the AI can still not is not ready to fulfill that gap at the moment. These are the three things that I feel as a recruiter is still AI is not able to fulfill. Yeah. Over to you now.
Great.
Absolutely. I think I'll piggyback on that, Abhya, to what you said. Absolutely, Sarabjit, sanity check that Abhya mentioned is a great point, right? So, and I think this really ties in back to what I've shared earlier, that yes, giving certain tasks to AI to perform is a good deal, to save us, us the time, but then also looking at, is it really, relevant to what we are trying to do, right? So, for example, companies are using AI to rewrite their job description. So when you give a statement to Chat GPT, Bard, or any of the AI systems, it will reframe it to you, can, give you a much creative solution, can give you a much creative write up, for you to post in a job description. But then it changes the essence of it, right? So you have to be, as a recruiter or as any professional, you have to be really mindful of how exactly what exactly you're asking AI to do, giving more context, giving
Hmm.
more clarity on what needs to be done. So when you ask, you know should we really be cautious about what we are sharing with AI or giving the access to AI? I think it all depends on setting up the context, right? So because eventually we as
Mm.
humans, we are training AI, right? It's not the other way around. We always think that, hey, if I need to learn something, let's ask AI. But then AI knows all that stuff because we are training AI, right? So we have to be very mindful of what we are asking AI to do, giving more context, around it, and then kind of leading with it, then kind of, utilizing all the content into our day to day.
Great.
Right.
So the next question, I will start off with Abhya. So
Sure.
Abhya, um, if AI is so great, if AI can do everything, why are we still struggling to fill roles? Um, and there is an irony that AI was supposed to
Mhm.
speed things up, make hiring smarter, but many of us are still staring at open roles for weeks. So why is this like a discrepancy in efforts versus the results?
Okay. So to answer that, I will answer it in a way where I'll talk about how AI is also benefiting the recruiters
Hmm.
today and how we are not able to fill roles. So it is very, before we deep dive into, we have to agree to one thing that AI has definitely streamlined candidate sourcing.
Hmm.
It has also streamlined application processing to an extent
Hmm.
and has taken some of the administrative burdens. As a talent advisor, at times I feel that it has enabled all of us to make those data driven decisions
Hmm.
because it give us the right data. If we need some market intels related to a role, it is giving us data which is relevant to an extent. Now, also, there was a time where we had job descriptions which were covering in, which were posted on newspapers. And we have
Hmm.
undergone that major shift from newspaper to job boards. Now, with AI, we are able to decide on intelligent spending when it comes to job ads. Because if a job ad is not giving results, the organization can make a decision basis that AI data that this portal or this job board is not giving me results, let's not spend or exhaust our budgets on this particular portal. So definitely this has helped organization to save and optimize cost to a level when it comes to job advertisements.
mm,
Then at times I also feel that all the companies are currently in that experimenting phase of AI, and they are running those small pilots, and not making any bold decisions as of yet. And the challenge, everyone knows that AI is changing very fast. The
mm,
business is hesitant to lock in for a very long period.
mm,
And to stay ahead, I feel basically the organization, before transitioning and testing the AI, they have to know what is the business problem and what they are solving.
mm,
And for that, they need people. They need people who are actually in the market, identifying those problems and meeting the stakeholders to understand those problem statements and creating that solution. Once they understand the business problem, it will be easy for them to advise what exactly is needed, what kind of AI intervention can be integrated, which will help the recruiters in a longer run. Instead, just bringing in an AI portal, running the heads around it and not getting results will definitely take us nowhere. And
mm,
very recently, I had an opportunity to join a podcast, and there was this strategy market head who said very nicely that AI is only as good as the people and process around it.
mm,
A flashy tool means nothing if it is not solving a real business problem. And I feel the future of TA isn't about adopting AI. It is about designing, advising for smarter workflows to that integrate AI effectively in the organization. Instead of getting the AI just for the sake that we need something in the system today, be it a ATS, be it a job board, until and unless it is not solving your problem, it is not helping you. So yes,
okay, great. So I have a bit of few questions on
sure.
this. So I will go to now. So now, Navya, so what's broken? So is it over reliance on tech, as Abhya was also talking about now? So, or is it bad data? Or are we still hiring with our old habits, like we were hiring like 5 6 years ago, and but using new technology, but it's the same old habits, like we are doing the same things, but a few of our administrative tasks we are given to AI, and it gives us back some things. So it is same, and as we also quoted one person saying that it's as good as the person using it, or the as good as the process using it. So is it that problem? Because if you make the tech better, if you make the tech better, will the problem be solved, or it will be remaining because we are not solving it ourselves? So over to you now.
Yeah, so Sarabjit, I think what's broken is the understanding of what we really want to, achieve out of it, right? So as Abhay said, understanding the business need, understanding what's the goal that that we are trying to target, right? Um, Yes, eventually, if we think it from that perspective, Sarojit, it's a tech, right? It's a technology. It's gonna get better the more maintenance, the more advancement we are gonna do to it, right? Like, yes, it's here to stay for sure. I cannot deny the fact that AI is gonna go away. It is going to be integrated into our lives much more as we can, anticipate, right? But with that being said, there are some people, uh, more than some people within different organizations who are still stuck in their old habits, as you said, right? Their old processes. So at one end, if you think that we have automated the let's take as a resume screening process, we have automated that,
Mm,
but we are still doing the traditional onboarding. It's not balancing, right?
okay.
So when we automate one part of the process, we have to make sure that it's very well balanced throughout the process, right? So when it comes to the screening resume, then there has to be some element of technology in the interviews. There has to be some level of technology in the feedback, onboarding, training, right? So it all goes side by side. You cannot just have technology take care of the screening resumes, but then rest of the process, the rest of your system is behind the age, right? So I think that's where the problem is. That's what's broken. And and I'm not saying that we are at fault. It's just everybody is trying to get ahead of their time, but in their own fashion, right? And also a lot of it comes to Sarabjit, the budget of the organizations, right? So I think where it fails is when when we are just using the system as it is, right? I can't remember the organization, but I read this article a long time back where this company, integrated with this AI system who used to screen the resumes for them, right? And they did this because they wanted to make sure that there shouldn't be any gender imbalance within the organization, right? So they want to hire more gender diversity when it comes to hiring for any role throughout the board, right? But then yes, for organizations which are small scale, these type of platforms always help to screen thousands of resumes. But then when you ask AI to do certain tasks, to screen resumes for gender diversity, AI doesn't know what gender diversity within the organization looks like, because you've always hired, let's say, men in an engineer role, in an engineering role, right? So to be able to make sure that AI understands what gender diversity is, you should have, as an organization, enough data, behind that, right? So I think we just integrate with the tools without understanding the goal behind it, without understanding the vision behind it, and how exactly tool, AI, or any kind of technology in one stage of the process can impact the other stages in the process. So yeah, that's what I think. And it actually kind of aligns to your first question. If we are if AI is so great, then how exactly we're not able to hire? It's just because there's so many people and stages in the processes which are still stuck, like years behind. And we are not able to navigate the complexities around AI and recruitment itself.
Okay. So
Mhm.
there was a series which came in Netflix. I think it's all live there, like Adolescence, which talks
Yeah.
about how kids think, kids like 13 plus, and so and how adults think. Like there is a huge mismatch of mindset. So what do you think? Like when we train AI with data, so that is data which might be old, and that might be pertaining to people who are right now 30s, in the late 40s or 50s, and now we are getting in people in the workforce which is very young, 20-year-old guys, 19-year-old guys, 21-year-old guys, and they will write differently, they will think differently. So do you think that this is also one of the concern? And it both side, like the human part, the recruiter, the recruiting person will also be young, and they might there might be recruiting person who will be quite experienced. So how they talk to a experienced guy versus how they talk to what you say millennial or Gen Z, whatever
Yeah.
the term is, it will be entirely different, and how they will portray their resume will be entirely different. So
Yeah.
people might be more like writing on their hobbies rather than
Yeah.
writing on their
Right.
certifications in the next few years.
Right.
Absolutely.
So do you think that that training is also missing, and it should be done, like it should evolve? AI should evolve
Yeah.
rather than staying the
Mhm.
same.
um Sarjeet, I think yeah, it's both. Humans and AI both needs to evolve, right? I had this very interesting conversation once with a candidate, and this person was a very seasoned sales executives, right? And when I say seasoned, this person had like 30 years of sales experience under his hat, right? With that being said, when I reached out to him, I was like, hey, I really liked your experience. I want to talk to you more about how this particular role really aligns with your experience and all of that. And we had a very good conversation. I was pretty sure that he's going to get a job. But then he said, before applying, do you want me to kind of edit my resume in the way this generation reads, right? So I think it's all about that. It's all about how humans and AI really needs to progress at the same time. And I think that's where the gender equality kind of tools are out there in in the system, right? Just or the job description tools out there in the system, which kind of helps people to write a very gender neutral kind of be it your resumes, be it your job descriptions, to make sure that you're attracting the right talent. Because in today's world, Sarabjit, if you're asking a Gen Z to write a resume, as you said, there's going to be a lot
Right.
of hobbies in there, right? There will be so many terms that I wouldn't particularly understand, right? And it's always a topic of conversation when somebody with 25, 30 years of experience, they feel like they're being discriminated because of all those terms in the process, right? Because they think that recruiters are training their ATS to reject the candidates based on certain terms. So I
Right.
think that's one of the clarity there that people need to see, that when ATSs are being trained, it's not getting trained on, hey, I'm an exceptional, it's not getting trained on exceptional word. It's getting trained on, hey, I'm an exceptional business development person, right? So it's getting trained on the skills,
Yeah.
competencies, more than, the adjectives associated with the skills itself, right? But yeah, Abhya, you share your thought process. What do you think about it?
Sure. I feel AI is great, but you cannot replace that human judgment when it comes to culture fitment, when it comes to guiding a candidate. Because, like you said, the Gen Z and millennials, when I am into early career hiring, I meet a lot of candidates who are just starting their careers and this is their first job, and they ask questions like, how does the career pathing look like for me in the organization? Maybe I might not be interested after an year in this role. Do you think the company would be okay for me to take into a different and opt for a different role in this organization? And I think back then when we were starting our careers, we never had some questions like this. We were like, we want to enter into it and we are going to work hard until we get to a level. But these candidates, they are very dynamic. They know what they want to do, what they are signing up for, and they might land up into something which is not relevant to them at all after joining, and they're ready to make that bold calls. Now, the AI, if you see, the AI intervention will not help them
So,
until the system is trained that way. It is only the human judgment in the longer term that they would need, and that will help them in their growth and their careers like that. So, AI is not going to replace a recruiter or a talent acquisition, even in coming years, I can say.
great. Um, a very insightful discussion, and let's move to the next question which we have. So this is a very direct question. So we'll start with Navjot here. Are recruiters even needed in 2030? And this is a question. This is going to sting, but let's go there. In a world where sourcing is automated, assessments are algorithmic, interviews are one click, do we need recruiters anymore? So over to you.
Yeah, Shivjit, I'm from a profession. I would definitely say yes, right? Because yeah, I'd be very much scared if if any company wouldn't be looking to hire me moving forward, right? But then, in all transparency, yes, I think everybody is now aware, of the saying when it where it goes that AI is not going to replace humans. Humans who do not use AI, are going to replace, other people, right? So I think that's very common, but the depth of that statement really aligns with, are we ready, right? So. Yes, recruiters will still be needed, I would say years to come now, unless there are some very drastic changes, that companies kind of put forward and they really do not have money to hire, let's say, 30 odd folks, right? But irrespective, what Abhay said is the human touch. I think organizations will still be looking for that balance between AI judgment and human judgment, right? There are calls, even still in my current experience, where if I'm if I'm on a call with a candidate and I share the resume with the hiring leaders, they're always looking for what's your viewpoint on the candidate,
Right.
what do you think, right? So even though AI can do that stuff, it cannot like really, get that human interaction, human consciousness into the picture, right?
Yeah.
And I think I touched on this a little earlier, that there were scenarios, there were case studies done when even in the video interviews, AI was kind of bringing in the biases of how the person is
Yeah.
getting dressed, how exactly they look. And a lot of companies use these kind of video interviews, and they say that, hey, if you're nervous and you're a salesperson while giving the answer, then that probably means that you're not ready for being a salesperson, right? So they'll reject you based on the video interview because yeah, things that the way you're answering, and you got nervous, that means you're not the right fit. But eventually, there was this lawyer in California who got really into identifying the loopholes in how AI is being used in recruitment process, right? Um, from a legal perspective, what's right and what's not. And this person, really dive deep into the whole complexity nuances of the AI itself. And she shared a thought process that after doing a lot of research, she realized that expressions doesn't have to do anything to do with whether you're going to be successful at a job or not, right? So if I'm interviewing with you, even before coming into this podcast, I was nervous. That doesn't mean that I will not be able to do the podcast, right? It's just the human tendency that kind of gets to you, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of thing is only be understandable by a human, right? AI as a machine cannot like really pick up those kind of human elements, those kind of human
Yeah.
behaviors properly. So yeah, that's what I think of your question.
Great.
Right.
Great. So, Abhya, your thoughts on this? I will have a few more questions on this also.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
uh, so
I Yeah.
AI will make the future much more upskilled, and I think human first recruiters will be more valuable than
Yeah.
ever. That is one of another perspective which we can talk about, because see, a job is a very important life event in a person's life. As
Right.
I've read somewhere, like losing a job is equal to losing someone in your family, and that is how much pain it goes through. But when you have a important life decision to take, or you want to get into something new, which can change your life forever, you generally don't want to talk to a robot, right? You want to talk to a
Right.
human and then understand the nuances of it. So over to you. So I think there's another perspective which makes the future much more upskilled. They can learn a lot of new things faster,
Right.
and I think human first recruiters will be much more valuable than it is now today. So over to you, Abhay.
Right. And I completely agree with you on this point because human recruiters need to upskill themselves over the period of time because AI is not going anywhere. It is going to be in the systems in the coming years for sure. But it is not going to take away your job because if you're upskilled, you know how to draft, how to utilize AI to the best or optimum level where I can do the job description, I can do my initial assessments through AI, and save time to hire. The time to hire that you say that we are sitting on weeks, the roles are still not closed. It might go down over the period of time, but the recruiters have to play their own role where they have to do the interviews in person because nobody, like Navjot said, wants to talk to a robot. You
Yes.
don't have feelings, you know. There will be question after question, question after question. There will be no conversation. Usually in interviews, we have conversations and discussions. It is less of an interview than it is more of a understanding of what you have done and what you want to achieve. Instead, just skill-based interviews via robots is nobody is going to appreciate that in the and even I've seen organizations have piloted AI interviews where there was uh, high volume hiring. They started, even I get AI calls that you have been shortlisted for this role, but you immediately disconnect
Hmm.
because you know that this is not a real person speaking.
Yeah.
So, is this even real? nobody knows, right? So I think the recruiters will still be there, that human touch is still required, and the human judgment, Navjot said, the human judgment is very much required, because there is biases when it comes to AI.
Hmm.
AI will do an
Yeah.
interview, like there would be no, if the candidate is nervous, like Navjot said, would be rejected because he was not confident in the interview. And we need person in sales who is very confident, outgoing, and extrovert. Now you can only make out when you have the conversation and not an interview
Hmm.
with the candidate. So I think recruiters have to upskill themselves with the AI, how AI is going to help them and save them time during the hiring process, with the screening, with candidate engagement, with the job descriptions. But the judgment and the decision, and even the data that is required for a particular job or a role, that data can be provided by AI, but the decision still lies and the judgment still lies in the hands of the recruiter. And there we need those human resources still in the system, I feel.
Great. So we had a lovely, insightful discussion. We had a thoughtful moments, and now it's time to shake things up. Let's do a fun round. I will ask you some questions. It is the rapid fire round, by the way. We'll ask you some questions and you start answering them in a matter of seconds. So, who wants to go first?
I little,
I did it,
yeah,
yeah. I no,
yeah.
no, Abhay, you gotta do that first. I did it the last time.
You go first. You have some experience.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
So
let's
let's go with
begin.
it. Yeah.
Navjot, your rapid fire questions are ready. So, shall I start shooting?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. If your HR system had a voice, would it sound like Alexa or Arnab Goswami?
I would say Arnab Goswami. Let's see how that works.
Okay. What's your go-to fake excuse for ignoring a call?
I would say I'm eating a late lunch right now, so talk to you later. Although I've had that food many times, so yeah.
Okay. One word you had banned from LinkedIn, like you would have banned from LinkedIn forever. One word which you want to ban from LinkedIn forever.
Help.
Help. Okay. Great. Uh, Next one is, what's your guilty pleasure after a long day of fake smiling in meetings?
Yeah, I just mimic people after fake smiling in meetings. That's yeah, I shouldn't do that, but yeah, that's my guilty pleasure.
Okay. Um, which app do you open first when you pretend to start work?
Spotify.
Okay.
Always helpful with some music. Yes.
Okay. Uh, the most ridiculous reason you have seen for rejecting a candidate.
Many, but this person is way too young to do this job.
Wait, oh yeah, okay. Uh, a totally HR thing you do in real life that you wish you didn't.
Try to organize everything in my day, in my personal life. Okay, this is the process. This goes through this and this. So yeah,
Okay. Thank you, Navjot, for being such a
sure.
sport. And I will move to Abhya now.
Sure.
Abhya, your rapid fire is ready. So when you're ready, I will start shooting.
Yeah, sure. I don't know why I'm not able to load this time. Yeah, I'm here. So sorry about that. Yep, go
Wait,
ahead.
let's start. Abhya, so the first question is, what's the weirdest thing someone said to you in an interview?
Oh my God, I can't say that. To be honest, this was an American Express back then. But yeah, uh, it was very weird, because at that time the person uh, uh, has to solve queries for celebrities, and if they have any requirements, they were basically looking after some card, and they said the weirdest thing I you could not even imagine. So let it be,
Okay.
and it was like on spot reject.
Okay. Great. What's your honest reaction when someone says, let's circle back? Honest reaction.
Uh, uh, okay, I'm like, yeah, we can. No, we can do that. We will think about it. That's the honest one.
That's a not that's a that's not an honest one. Like
That's a very honest one.
Yeah, it's like we're never gonna do that. We can never gonna circle back.
We'll think
Forget
about it.
about it.
We'll think.
Yeah.
uh, if you could delete one tool from your life forever, what would it be?
Nokri.
Okay. Um, what's something you have done during a virtual meeting that you shouldn't have?
Um, Virtual meeting that I shouldn't have.
Probably Abhya when we chat alongside.
Yeah, maybe we chat alongside exactly.
Okay.
Maybe. But yeah, I think everyone is doing that already.
Okay. Uh, what's the one interview question you think is completely useless, but you still ask it anyway?
Where do you see yourself down the line? It's useless.
Yeah,
Okay.
true.
Okay, the next question is very interesting. What's your secret talent that your co-workers don't know about?
I think now people know that I really cook great food, and I at some point in time I did run a cloud kitchen.
Okay, that's lovely.
Yeah.
What's your most polite way of saying the meeting could have been an email?
I remember I was there was a team visit that was happening, and I asked my manager, uh, "Are we required here? Because we just join and then we just hear it. Are we even required?" So yes, I think I just checked, and then it was like, "Yeah, I'll check and come back. Maybe you're right."
Maybe it helped your listening
Yes,
skills.
yes.
Okay, so I would like to introduce Parimita. Parimita is the one who has created the product academy, and over to you, Parimita.
Hi everyone, really fun interaction with you, Navjot and Abhya. So I am Paramita and I'm in product marketing in Instahyre, and I have some really exciting news to bring to everyone. We've been cooking something new and great at Instahyre, which is our product academy. And we've already launched our previous course, which is talent sourcing fundamentals. But today we are launching our new course, which is talent sourcing advanced, which goes beyond basics, and it's for recruiters who want to upskill and re-innovate their way of hiring. So it's for recruiters who want to use modern day AI based hiring techniques and scale their hiring game into 10x. So
Mm.
it's a very interactive course. It's very easily consumable. It has like 4 modules, which is advanced search, which talks about going beyond Boolean search and advanced search techniques on Instahire, top tips to use that feature, and employer branding, ATS integrations, and talent insights. So, and you can use this, you can consume this course with just a cup of coffee. So they're very, very easy to consume. And I hope this helps young budding recruiters to upskill themselves and live in the AI world, as both of you mentioned, because this is the future. So I would really love everyone to just go through this course after this session. It's free, flexible, and built for today's hiring landscape. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, Paramita.
Paramita.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thank
Parimita.
you.
Sarabjit, before we drop, I
Yeah.
have a rapid question for you. How do you like this podcast?
Yeah.
I
Tell
love
me
it. Yeah,
honestly.
very good banter between us. I think a
Yeah,
lot of new things came up with the rapid fire, which I didn't know.
yeah.
A lot of perspective, like different perspective, and very good research, which I think both of you have done. Both have talked about a lot of German scientists and all that. So I got to learn a lot of things from you guys. But we started the day with can AI out hire recruiter? Maybe the better question could have been, can a recruiter outlearn an algorithm and make
Yeah.
himself or herself better with that? And I think that's the real opportunity here. It
Yeah.
may be
Mm.
hard,
Right.
but humans do evolve, and we have seen from the book. If you have read the book Homo sapiens, we have seen how we have
Mm-hmm.
evolved.
Yeah.
And today's this podcast showed us that the real skill in hiring is basically reinventing ourselves.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and it is right. So huge thanks to Navjot, Abhya, and
Thank
Parimita
you.
for making this discussion so alive, so lively, and a lot of new things I have learned, and our folks who have joined and who will see again this podcast will learn. So, thank you so much, guys, for joining in, taking your time out of your busy schedule and joining us. Um, Parting thoughts, Navjot and Abhya, from you.
No,
You go.
absolutely. This
Yeah.
has been, yeah, this has been great. And I think what we've discussed is really a stepping stone into, how can we learn to unlearn what we used to do, and again rebuild something that could help not just as us as professionals, but also the entire professional ecosystem, right? So I think what you guys are building is going to help a lot of the recruiters, a lot of the talent professionals to actually learn to use AI better and to use the systems better, right? Going beyond just what we used to do and try to make lives easier. So this has been great initiative, Sarabjit. I am looking forward to look at the modules that Parimita is talking
Right.
about, and maybe share the feedback after that.
Yeah. Also, Sajid, I want to say before we drop in that it was a lovely session today. Thank you for having us. And everyone should remember AI is not replacing jobs, it is replacing tasks. So you don't have to worry about that the jobs replaced if AI comes in. It is just replacing, or it is just advancing the tasks so that you are able to close the roles in a short span of time. Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining in, and it was lovely
Thanks,
having you.
Sarabjit. Thanks,
Thank you.
Thank
Parimita.